In at number 5 we have Skinwalkers. Rooted in indigenous folklore, Skinwalkers are creepy creatures that terrify anyone who dares to get near them. According to Navajo legend, a Skinwalker is a witch that is known for shapeshifting into any animal or living being in order to do harm. A Skinwalker can be described as animalistic with their physical intelligence and are impossible to capture. These creatures mimic sounds that might draw someone's attention, like a loved one or a stranger asking for help. They do this to lure their victims and gain their trust before ultimately bringing them to their own demise. The Skinwalker is a scary figure for indigenous people, and their presence is taken very seriously. Once the Skinwalker's true identity is revealed after capturing its victims, it is ultimately too late. This creature is so terrifying because our only understanding of them is to conquer our fear of them. What makes this even more frightening is the story of the Skinwalker Ranch. In 1996, a family of 4 moved into a cursed ranch. After just 18 months in their new home, they started to experience mysterious crop circles and mutilations of their cattle, and had sight of a mysterious large animal. This led the family to ultimately sell their ranch, but this didn't stop the sightings. Repeated cases of human-like creatures were documented at the ranch and surrounding area, leaving the case of the Skinwalker feeling even more real. In at number 4 we have Sirens. Often mistaken as mermaids, sirens are mythical creatures with the head and upper body of a female human and the lower body of a fish. These evil creatures live in the sea and have sharp teeth. Sirens appear in folklore from around the world and are directly associated with shipwrecks. They directly appear in Greek's oldest work of literature, with them being described as bewitching singers. By the end of the Greek period, they had concluded that these women were no more than fables, yet the legend of the sirens lived on for centuries after the Greek civilization crumbled away. Sirens can be considered one of the scariest mythical creatures because they are known for their intense beauty and luring attraction. Though don't be fooled by the beauty of a siren, as they can use their physical appearance and enchanting songs to lead sailors to their demise. Sail too close to their neighboring island and you will quickly find out what makes them so scary. Before the sirens were known for their deadly singing and dangerous nature, they suffered greatly due to being cursed by Demeter and the Muses and exiled to a small island where they were forced to live a life of loneliness. Therefore, it is possible that the sirens turn on men to avenge the wrongs against them. With modern and ancient reports of siren-like creatures being spotted, there is no solid proof of these claims, so it's known that humans have only explored 5% of the Earth's oceans, leaving the siren mystery still plausible. Moving on to number 3, we have Chimera, which could be considered one of the most terrifying creatures in Greek mythology. The Chimera is a creature that came from Lucia, which was located in Asia Minor. Chimeras are described as having the head of a lion, a tail that looked like it belonged to a serpent, and the body of a goat, with the ability to breathe fire and known to be maybe invincible, with the strength of a lion, the cunning of a goat, and the venom of a snake. This might be one of the more bizarre creatures out there, but don't be mistaken, it's definitely not one to overlook. The Chimera was also seen as an omen of sorts, as he often appeared before natural disasters, mostly volcanic eruptions. Additionally, the Chimera had a terrible temper and no civilized instincts. She ransacked many villages, mostly killing cattle, but sometimes destroying houses and innocent people. The origin of the Chimera is known as the twisted offspring of a monstrous snake named Typhon and his half-human bride. The name Chimera is derived from a Greek word that translates to she-goat or monster, which is fitting for the creature. The most famous story of the Chimera is the tale of Bellerophon, who rode into battle against her on the back of the winged horse Pegasus. Bellerophon managed to drive a lance down the beast's throat right before it could burn him with a fireball, ultimately leading to the creature's end. In at number 2 we have the Wendigo. You may recognize the name, but do you know just how scary the Wendigos are? Well, Wendigos were known to be a man-eating monster that roamed the land near the Great Lakes. Physically, they can be described with pale skin, prominent ribs, and sunken eyes. They had the appearance of a malnourished man, though what makes the Wendigo so terrifying is that they never feel full after a meal, leaving them to attack anything and everything they come across for a quick meal. The legend of the Wendigo lurking in the forest is a scary thought, and knowing that they are cursed to wander the land, eternally seeking to fill the void of their appetite and infecting others, is even more terrifying. This creature belongs to the spiritual traditions of the the Algonquin-speaking indigenous in North America. According to legends, a human becomes a Wendigo after their spirit is tainted by greed or weakness by extreme conditions, and becomes possessed by a prowling spirit during the time of weakness. One could take away from the legend of the Wendigo from its beliefs, social structure, and traditions of three indigenous people telling these stories. The legend serves as a reminder of the importance of community, and what happens to an individual when they are left outside of the community. The story of the Wendigo highlights the importance of sharing and need for cooperation when it comes to surviving as a species. And finally, in at number 1, we have the Kraken. Known for its large size and roaming the ocean, the Kraken could be considered the largest and most dangerous creature in the sea. The monster can stretch out as far across as 10 warships side by side, and is considered the biggest monster in the sea, with giant tentacles that could pull a ship and its crew to their last breath. Even if it were to not attack you, the Kraken is so powerful by nature that the whirlpool it would create by diving below the water would be so massive, it could potentially sink a whole fleet underwater. Being such a big creature also brings a big appetite, where he will destroy any ship and marine life he comes across. Even though the Kraken is one of the laziest mythical creatures, with its size, it is rightly one of the most feared monsters. When facing a Kraken, you will notice bubbling in the water and scattering of marine life, as if everything in the ocean had to flee drastically, knowing something dangerous was coming. Any sailor who dares to want to survive their interaction with a Kraken must get as far away as possible, if it's not too late. In the 18th century, the Norwegian bishop Erik Pontoppidan insisted that the Kraken was real, and had stated to have recalled seeing it on multiple occasions. Pontoppidan described the creature as the largest and most surprising of all the animal creations. The fisherman also stated that it has a strong and peculiar scent, which it can emit at certain times, and by means of which it beguiles and draws other fish to come in heaps with it. There is a documentation of this scary monster ruling the seas since the 13th century. The Kraken ranks top among mythical creatures for centuries for its sheer strength and size. This creature can be considered the largest monster ever imagined by mankind. While there has not been any proof of the Kraken to exist, the ocean holds many real creatures similar, such as giant squids being documented and discovered by scientists, which can grow to be 600 pounds. Coming in at number 5, we have Phoenix. Most people see the Phoenix as nothing more than a myth, but there have been potential sightings throughout the years that led many to believe the bird is real. Those who believe this think the bird is almost extinct due to being hunted thousands of years ago, and those left live in fear and are hiding. The Phoenix is an immortal creature. Once it comes to the end of one life cycle, it will simply be born again from its own ashes. Some say it burns to ashes at the end of its life, others claim it simply passes and decomposes before being born again. The first time that the Phoenix was recorded in history was in the 19th century. Since then, many more have told what they believe to know about the creature. Some believe that the Phoenix was a key to everlasting life or a gateway in heavenly paradise. It is now believed that this may have led to humanity attempting to contain and keep the powers for themselves, leading to the near extinction of the species. Since this, little has been known about them, and few sightings of what might be the remaining few birds. In the first text written about the creature, the author made an observation: the Phoenix outlives 9 ravens. Once people started to notice the nature of their lives, the people were unstoppable in their pursuit. There is also evidence supporting the idea that the Egyptians prayed to the sacred bird. They understood the rarity of the creature and saw it as a blessing to worship. Today, the Phoenix is often seen in books and movies. There have also been studies carried out attempting to study the existence of the animal. People will often refer to things rising from the ashes in triumph in a way a phoenix would. It is a celebrated creature, while also wildly being seen as mythical. Who knows, one day we may know even more about them. Coming in at number 4, salamander. Salamanders are of course real. They are a group of amphibians typically characterized by their lizard-like appearance, but it is believed they were once more than just your average lizard. Time seems to have taken something from these creatures. It is believed in folklore that the creature once had an affinity with fire. It has the ability to control and create the elemental fire. They are able to sustain fire, being able to walk through or stand in it untouched by the flames. Some have claimed that during the tragedy of Pompeii, the fire salamander was the only thing that remained of the city, the only thing not destroyed by the lava. They are able to put out fire as well as starting them. Apparently they dwell in locations with high temperatures, for example within volcanoes. There are stories that come from legends of salamanders being created when glass blowers left their furnace burning for many days and nights. The lizards nearby were transformed by the flame and it became a part of them. There is a lot of evidence and claims that the salamander existed, but it's unknown if they still exist. Some people think that over time these creatures were adapted to a different climate and location and lost their ability to withstand, extinguish and control fire. Leonardo da Vinci was in particular obsessed with the creatures. He did experiments and wrote what he could about the peculiar creature. He wrote about witnessing the skin of the lizard constantly renew in the fire. He said the creature had no digestive organs and it feeds off of the heat of the flame. Some believe that the fire salamander was the last remnant from dragons. Like every other ancient creature, it either adapted to the new world or became extinct. Coming in at number 3 we have fire serpent. The fire serpent is said to be an evil entity. It chooses to represent itself as an anthropomorphic snake. It is said that the entity can travel across the sky resembling a shooting star or a fiery rocket. It will look like a blue ball of flame shooting across the sky. It is said that this creature and evil entity reveals itself at night. It is said that the giant serpent can choose any form to appear to you in, whatever it needs to appear as for you to wander into its path. As the creature is a serpent, it cannot speak or hear. It only hopes appearing as the person you love the most in the world, you'll go to it without needing any words of confirmation. It is said once you are visited by the serpent you will not remember the encounter, but you will experience weight loss and exhibit signs of insanity. Many people claim to have seen the serpent, but its terrifying existence is still something that many doubt. Those who have been driven insane by the experience are not believed about the encounter, or they simply disappear without a trace or anyone to witness the encounter. Many think that this creature is responsible for many shooting stars. It's unknown if there's just one entity or if there are multiple, but the sightings have been few and far between, suggesting it works alone. There are some Aztec statues that depict the fire serpent. This has led people to believe the creature has been on Earth far longer than we have. It seems unable to find its way back home and has had to adapt to our lives here, keeping a distance where possible. Historians believe the creature was a weapon of the sun, and they both worshipped and feared the creature. Coming in at number 2, Sharuf. The Sharuf is a humanoid creature made of rock, crystals and magma. It is said that they live deep underground in magma pools. These are mostly found deep within Chilean volcanoes. For many years, the Chilean people have blamed the creatures for causing earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. It is because of these creatures that in ancient times human sacrifices were made to volcanoes. They believed this was the only way to satiate the beast's taste for human flesh. They believed once the creature had been fed the sacrifice, the volcano would no longer erupt, or at least not until he got hungry once again. Some believe that the creature was originally created when someone fell deep into the volcano. Once they fell, something happened when the lava did not tear through their body but instead formed a hard layer outside of their skin. As they laid there, the rock layer around the skin got thicker and thicker until it was part of them. Since then they were the humanoid creature. It lost all humanity. It grew a hunger for flesh and demanded a human sacrifice. They grew angry and punished the humans if they did not show a willingness to sacrifice in the way they once did. It is said once transformed it can outlive its human counterparts. It forgets who it was and dwells in the volcanic rock for thousands of years. The human ritual of human sacrifice ended sometime in the 1960s. Each time there was a disaster they would make a sacrifice. They did this in hopes it would stop the earthquake, extreme weather or anything else. This was finally stopped in the 60s when it was recognized as barbaric. It is unknown if the creatures still dwell, causing natural disasters. Maybe the lack of sacrifice has starved them of what they needed to survive. If the theory of the creature was correct, this was stopped or slowed down the occurrence of natural disaster, so it seems it still dwells beneath the surface. And finally, in at number 1 we have dragons. It would not be a list about fire creatures if it didn't include dragons. Belief about dragons vary from place to place. They are often portrayed as winged, horned, four-legged and capable of flight. I'm sure most of you have seen or heard of a dragon before. They are one of the most popular mythical creatures to ever exist. It is believed that the teachings about dragons comes from East Asian culture. They tell stories of their deities having dragons as their personal mounts or companions. They are seen as strong creatures. They are good-natured and work with humans humans, not against them. The question is, are dragons 100% mythical, or are they legend born from an old truth? I'm sure there are many people who refuse to believe in dinosaurs, so it could be possible that the dragons were something that roamed the earth during or before the Triassic period. As we know, many dinosaurs were capable of flight and somewhat resemble a dragon, so it's not the most unbelievable theory in the world. There may even be evidence to support this theory. On April 1st, 1998, an article was published that revealed a discovery. They had uncovered a near-complete skeleton of a dragon-like dinosaur. They named their findings Smorg. The discovery was suspended in a jar and shocked everyone who saw it. The dragon-like creature is small enough to sit on your finger. Many believe this to be a hoax and dismissed it, but there is no doubting this little dinosaur looks like a dragon that was preserved by the earth for possibly millions of years. What do you think? Do you believe that dragons could be real, or just something that exists in the stories like Harry Potter or Game of Thrones? Coming in at number 5, we have Mahaha. Mahaha is an ice demon. Some have commented on how its name sounds like an evil laugh, but the pain this creature can bring to people is no joke. This creature looks like a humanoid. It is thin with an icy blue color to its skin. They are cold to the touch with hair that is long but frozen to ice. They are shirtless and barefoot, wearing only some ripped pants. It's not bothered by the cold and always seems to have an unnerving smile on its face. It's believed that they sometimes lure in their victims by pretending to be caught out in the cold, underdressed, turning blue from exposure. Once an unlucky victim rushes to help them, they will attack. The monster uses its long, sharp fingernails to freeze its victims. The monster is nicknamed in the sound of a laugh, as every victim is found with a twisted smile on their face. Luckily for us, it is not the smartest creature that stalks the night. Many people have been able to escape its grasp. It is said that the Mahaha has a weakness. The weakness is water. Apparently, much like how water melts ice quickly, it renders the monster unable to move. If you do encounter it, you should run to your closest river or lake. People have said you can easily trick the demon to stepping too close to the water's edge, where you can then push them down to the water depths, where they can be washed away. The water will carry them far away so you can escape and hopefully never encounter them again. When someone is frozen alive, it is said it is always because of Mahaha. They will always have a smile on their face. Coming in at number 4, we have Keelut. The Keelut looks like a hairless dog. It is said to actually be a spirit. It appears as a large canine. It is completely hairless with small tufts of fur spotted around its feet. Encounters with this creature are said to be terrifying. The creature is known to silently follow travelers late at night. When they're alone and far from home, the creature will attack. They usually travel alone and can disappear if they are startled. They will only pick off travelers who are alone. If others appear, they do not risk the attack. Once you are alone and they pursue you, there is not much you can do to escape. They can travel faster than any creature and are relentless in their pursuit. It is said that a Keelut is created when a dog is left outside in freezing temperatures. Their spirit is transformed into this creature, and it looks to take revenge on people alone in the cold temperatures. If you do want to avoid the creature, you just have to make sure you never travel alone at night. If you do happen to be out late in the snow alone and you encounter the terrifying creature, there is a simple way to get rid of them before they pursue you. If you call their name, scream it as loud as you can, the creature will flee. If you make it clear you know they're stalking you, they will get spooked and disappear before they get close enough to attack. Coming in at number 3, we have Salmon Carr. Salmon Carr translates into Man of Snow. Although they look like a type of yeti, they have many different characteristics. In appearance, the creature looks like a giant. They have some human features including their hands and feet, but they are much larger than any human. Their body is covered in white fur that blends in with the snow. They have great horns that come out of their head. They also have sharp, long teeth similar to that of a shark. It is hard to explain just how terrifying this creature looks. It would tower over any human and destroy everything in its path with ease. The monster is said to roam the frozen wasteland surrounding the North Pole. The settlements of the area respect the creature as a wise but terrifying neighbor to them, who seems to attack any outsiders to the area. Some of these monsters have also been known to take an interest in human life, observing from afar. Some believe they are fearful of us and warn their kind about keeping far away from the humans. Although they don't speak our language, they do communicate with their tribe. They usually travel in family units. They are very powerful creatures with the strength to tear other animals in two with ease when in combat. They actually choose to not hunt humans, most of their diet is fish. It's believed that the reason more is not known about the creatures is they are able to use telepathy. If they are seen on an expedition, they are able to make travelers believe they witnessed a goat or other creatures. They can change the memories and thoughts so they will never speak or see the Salmon Carr. Coming in at number 2 we have the Wendigo. The Wendigo is an evil spirit which lingers in frozen mountains. As it is harmed by fire, it chooses to only inhabit colder regions. The malevolent spirit of the Wendigo takes over human vessels. The Wendigo can only take over a human if they resort to cannibalism. Once they have eaten another, they welcome the spirit to take over their soul. They start to change into a humanoid creature. Their arms and legs grow longer, their skin becomes tougher, their nails will turn black and fall off while all of their hair falls out. By the end of the transformation, they no longer resemble their human self, they look all the same. There may be a few indicators of the person they once were, for example any tattoos would remain or any other body alterations. Once fully transformed, they will hunt humans since they were once one. They are skilled and intelligent on the hunt. They can imitate our habits, they can even use voices of those they have taken their lives off to trick others into trusting them, luring them into a trap. When the Wendigo is approaching, you feel a sudden chill take over you. They have to maintain a freezing temperature while they are out on the hunt. It is said once you become a Wendigo, your insides freeze. Unlike the Chenu, there is no way to save you from the transformation. Luckily for us, they are unable to come out during the day and they are fearful of fire. If you wanted to protect yourself from them, you need to stay inside at night if staying in the mountains. Many people go missing during holidays to the mountains and they are never found. Locals believe these lost souls may have become Wendigos or have been attacked by one. And finally, in at number 1 we have Jack Frost. Jack Frost is one of the most legendary figures of all time, up there with Sandman and St. Nicholas. Jack Frost is a sprite-like creature responsible for the changing of the seasons. He brings the ice, snow, and freezing cold temperatures. Jack Frost was not always an ice creature though. He started out as a human like you or me. It is believed he lived as a human near the beginning of the 1400s. It was due to tragic circumstances that he was given his power and the ability to control the frost. It is not known exactly what happened to him as a boy, but he fell under a sheet of ice. Unable to find his way out while he was under there and close to passing away, he was found by a demon and given these powers. He becomes immortal with the capability to manipulate ice and snow. It's not known if he is evil, neutral, or sometimes maybe good, but he has been known to do some cruel things with his abilities. As we all know, ice can be very dangerous, and it's said that if you slip on black ice or are nearly impaled by a falling icicle, he is to blame. He plays with the elements for his own amusement, even causing people to perish due to this, just as he did as a mortal. Some believe he does this due to his loneliness. Being immortal is often seen more of a curse than a blessing. He is bitter that he has long lost anyone he knew in his mortal life. He does sometimes have fun and try to play having snowball fights, but between his fun he performs some dark and evil acts that cause suffering for everyone around the world.